Do you think that October 7th gave people a sense of moral authority to express their anti-Semitism?
Well, because the internet has been flooded by fake propaganda describing Israel as the aggressor instead of the country that's been aggressed upon, saying that, falsely accusing us of genocide, when we have sacrificed our soldiers in taking out terrorist places that we could have just carpet bombed and we didn't. We do everything in our power to keep civilians out of harm's way, and Hamas did everything in their power to keep them in harm's way. They shoot people. When we tell Palestinian civilians, please get out of this neighborhood because we're coming in, Hamas shoots them if they want to come out. But they're not only targeting us, and they not only chant death to America, death to Israel, death to America, they want to get rid of us in order to get rid of you. But they're also going after minorities, and specifically against Christians. Christians throughout the Middle East are being oppressed. They're being driven out. It's something that the only safe place for Christians, where the Christian community is growing and thriving, is in Israel. They've been kicked out of Turkey. They've been oppressed in Syria, in Lebanon, in the areas that we handed over to the Palestinians.
Turkey is one of Israel's allies in the region.
Some 30 years ago, we were controlling Bethlehem, the birthplace of Jesus. At that time, the overwhelming majority of the Arabs living in Bethlehem were Christian Arabs, over 80%. Now, after 30 years, they're down to 20% because they're oppressed, and so they leave. But that's not what's happening in Israel itself. In Israel itself, they're growing, they're thriving. They serve in the army. Christian Arabs serve in the army, yes. Very brave soldiers, because they know that Israel is fighting not only our battle, but their battle.
Bibi Netanyahu is pulling out all the stops. He's with Dr. Phil there, and he mentioned that Christians serve in the army in Israel. They don't have to, but some choose to. Muslims don't have to, but some choose to. And the Druze community and the Bedouin community, who are Muslim, they do actually serve and have to serve in the IDF. Who does and who doesn't serve in the IDF is a bit of a complicated question. And we've got Just Why Bill in the chat. Welcome. And he or she is expressing disgust. Why is it disgusting? Just or why, Bill? Tell me. And Dr. Phil is one of these American TV presenters. There used to be loads of them. Do you remember Ricky Lake? Do you remember Montel Williams? Oprah Winfrey is still around. Jerry Springer sadly passed away. There used to be a ton of these American chat show hosts that would come on and get working class people from the audience to humiliate themselves. Lil Mo is saying that's trash. F Israel. Why do you say that, Lil Mo? Why are you against Israel? Can you elaborate on that? Benjamin Netanyahu really trying to appeal to the Christian West at the moment. Mohammed Omar clearly grew up in the 90s as he's chanting, Jerry, Jerry, Jerry. Yeah, sad to lose Jerry Springer. I think he was born in London originally. He was a Jewish gentleman. And so was Ricky Lake. I think Ricky Lake is of a Jewish background as well. And there are others. What other similar TV shows were there? In the UK we had, what's he called? The guy who became a politician. How would you feel? Kilroy Silk. I went on his TV show once. And What on Earth, sorry, it's saying second best after Benny Hill. Yeah, Benny Hill, another person showing their age. So we've got quite a few clips to get through tonight. I thought we'd kick it off with Benjamin Netanyahu, and I'm going to be. Look, I like to keep it balanced, so I'm going to play you quite a few clips tonight from the other side. It doesn't mean that I agree with the message. It just means we should be open-minded and have the debate. There's a lot of talk about what's going to happen in Iran. Iran at the moment, there is turmoil, there is protests against the government, and are Israel going to capitalize on that? If you're a conspiracy theorist, are Israel behind it? Are they encouraging it? Let's get another clip on for you. As I say, quite a few to get through. And we are, again, a different Israeli politician. Here we go. This is Shlomo Kramer.
I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it.
Yes, so this Israeli politician wants the Americans to limit their freedom of speech in order to protect it, he says. He is not happy about the freedom of speech that has included criticism of Israel. A lot of the American right, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, they are turning against Israel, having been on their side previously. This guy is not happy about that.
Quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
Before it's too
I
late.
mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves online and take control over what they are saying based on that ranking.
The government.
The government should
control the social media.
Yeah.
Right. How do you feel if you're an American and your freedom of speech enshrined in the Constitution and some foreigner is claiming you should get rid of it? Lil Mo 3 is explaining, they are stealing my land and took the lives of 3 of my cousins in a day. What do you think about that? I think that's horrific, Lil Mo. I utterly condemn everything that you just surmised there, and we stand with you. Mark Olezik is saying 7676. I don't know. Is that code for anything? What does that mean? You never know when people throw numbers up there. There's a guy in the speaker's corner that wears a number on his shirt, and it has some far right connotations. Lil Mo is saying, thank you so much. La shukra la wajib, Lil Mo. We must stand with the oppressed, and we stand with you in solidarity. But as you're aware, there are people with different views. We are trying to reason together. We are trying to reach out to the other side. We want to listen to them so that they will listen to us. I'm sorry that I've got a voice that sounds like it's about to give in. Thank you lot for still listening to me. Yes, it's brain rot. That's what the numbers mean. Okay, could be. All right, so let's get another clip on for you. Who's this? Oh, I've got to get rid of one. I've got to take one out and put one in. Give me. Okay. So we've got Lawrence Wilkinson here. US Army, ex-US Army. Are we on the verge of World War III? Let's see what an ex-US Army officer has to say.
You've got a recalculation on Netanyahu's part about Iran, because the only reason he hasn't carried out another attack on Iran is what Larry said and other people have said, and what you know. You're in the heart of Iran right now. And that is that Iran is prepared to destroy Israel if they do start the attack again. So what is Netanyahu doing now? He's asking Donald Trump to do it for him. And one wonders what Trump's answer ultimately is going to be. Because as Larry pointed out, Israel is in some straits right now. without the United States helping him if he wants to take Iran out, or at least inflict a blow that is commensurate with his desire, then he's going to have to use the United States. Now, come back to my original comment about how we are ill deployed in the world now. How much further would we become ill deployed if we had to do that? And how much more combat assets would we use, which we are it's very difficult to build them back up again with the defense industrial base that we have now, especially since we are now looking at things that are critical for that military that's out there that come exclusively from China, and we can't get them.
So, Israel appealing to Donald Trump to attack Iran for them. The Islamic Republic of Iran have always voiced their support for the Palestinian people. And a lot of people question whether that is a genuine conviction out of love for justice, out of a desire to stand up to the imperial powers. They've always reached out and appealed to the downtrodden around the world, not even just in the Muslim world, even going as far as to reach out in solidarity with the Irish Republicans. The British Embassy in Tehran is no more. There is no British Embassy in Tehran, but it once stood on a street that was named Churchill Street after the great British Prime Minister Winston Churchill. And following the overthrow of the Shah and the Islamic Revolution, the road was changed to Bobby Sands Street, named after the Irish Republican hunger striker, the first of the 10 who passed away in prison in 1981, hungering for justice. Lil Mo is asking, what do you think about Trump funding the genocide in Gaza? Well, there's no doubt that all of the atrocities committed in Gaza and in the rest of Palestine would not be possible were they not funded by America. And don't forget, Donald Trump came back into power halfway through this latest episode of the genocide. So it was the other guy, Sleepy Joe Biden, Genocide Joe, they were calling him. And Trump even agreed with that. He said, they're not wrong. He's genocide. He even capitalized on the fact that those who stand with Palestine were calling Joe Biden Genocide Joe. So he accused him of that. And then did he stop the genocide? He tried to take credit for the ceasefire. Was there a ceasefire? When there's a ceasefire, you're meant to cease firing, but many Palestinians lost their lives following the ceasefire. So, to answer your question, what do I think about Trump funding the genocide in Gaza? Well, I think it's appalling. And I can't see any candidate on the horizon that would do any different. You've got RFK Jr., who doesn't toe the line on certain things, who is an outlier in many ways. He's an ardent Zionist. The previous guy was an ardent Zionist. Who's next? I mean, is it going to be Trump's son? What? He's not going to be any different. I haven't had a look at the website, but I often go on paddypower.com. Not that I would gamble, but it's always interesting to see what they put the odds for the political events. Who is most likely to be the next president of the United States. Trump has joked about having a third term, but he's not allowed to. Jacobo Segovia says hi. Hi to you, Jacobo. Where are you watching from? It sounds like you might be, I don't know, are you in the Balkans? That's my guess. Let's get another clip up for you. We've had 3 so far. Always like to hear from Piers Morgan because he's flipped and flopped all over the shop. Let's see what he's saying now.
You constantly say you condemn October 7th, but you also condemn every moment from then that we've tried to defend ourselves to go after Hamas.
No, that's not true. Hang on, Doran, you can't say that about me. I'm sorry. For many, many, many months, after this started, I repeatedly was attacked actually by pro-Palestinians because they felt that I was giving too much license for Israel to exercise its right to defend itself, which I felt was a duty, a moral duty to its people, because Hamas has said we're going to keep trying to do this. And they had an absolute right to defend themselves.
Do we not have a moral duty now?
My criticism of the Israeli government and its strategy really became a lot more critical this year, at the start of this year, when I began to see that it was not achieving its goals. It wasn't getting Hamas destroyed. It wasn't actually getting the hostages released. It was leading to what I think are going to end up being categorized as war crimes, like the 3-month blockade. It was leveling Gaza to complete obliteration. And I felt this was, A, completely disproportionate, but B, and probably even more significantly, it wasn't achieving the initial war goals. And coupled with that, we have people like Smotrich and Ben-Gvir openly talking about their desire for ethnic cleansing.
Smotrich and Ben-Gvir,
I know. Hang on. All the Israeli guests, all the Israeli guests I have on always say you should ignore 2 senior members of the Israeli government. And I'm sorry. It's a bit like people saying in Britain with the British government, just ignore what the Chancellor says. Ignore what the Foreign Secretary says.
They're not the Chancellor. They have no power.
These people are senior members of the government. They have an influence over Netanyahu.
There you go, Piers Morgan, explaining how initially he was on the side of Israel and then he changed his mind. I've got no idea what Jacob Segovia is saying. Play the plumber are the electricians does a school for the veterans farmers. What on earth are you talking about? Are you a human being? Are you a robot? Or are you speaking in code? I can't work it out. User says Somaliland. We've talked about Somaliland already the other night. And yes, Israel, the first country to recognise Somaliland. Who will be the second? That's what I want to know. Who else is going to recognise Somaliland? Let's get you another clip.
So when I first met Benjamin Netanyahu, he was an opposition MP. He was out of power. It was the early 2000s. He was described by my host, Spycom, as an extremist. And the first thing he told me, and the first thing he would tell everyone, is we've got to bomb Iran. And Iran is, to use his words, the mothership, and Hezbollah and Hamas are its aircraft carriers. And so this has been a project of Netanyahu's that stretches all the way back to then and beyond. He said over the weekend that he has been waiting for this moment for 40 years in an address to the Israeli people. And there's no doubt that he wants to expand the war aims from something that is really pretty focused, which is disabling Iran's nuclear sites, to something which is much bigger, which is a complete destruction of Iran's oil infrastructure, its hospital system, Tehran itself, all of these now, and regime change.
So user is talking about Somaliland. Guess who's going to get put there? Palestinians. Do you think that is what's going on? Is Israel recognising Somaliland because this is an option for Israel to do a population transfer, expel the Palestinians from the Gaza Strip. And the gentleman we just heard there was explaining that from a long time ago, Netanyahu has been pushing for this war with Iran, a desire to attack Iran. And he did also say the same thing about Iraq in the days of Saddam Hussein. Let's go to the Oxford Union, I think we're at here. I've been there.
I'm an Israeli. I was born in Israel. I care about Israel. I belong to Israel. I'm attached to Israel. Don't speak about symmetry because there is no symmetry. I would even suggest that there is no conflict. Was there a French-Algerian conflict? There was a brutal French occupation in Algeria, which came to its end. And there is no Israeli-Palestinian conflict. There is a brutal Israeli occupation which must come to its end one way or the other. There is a regime which is today by far one of the most cruel, brutal tyrannies on earth, not less than this, and I know what I say because I cover it for 40 years. And this regime cannot be defined but as an apartheid. Two peoples share one piece of land there. One people has all the rights in the world, the other people has no rights whatsoever. It looks like apartheid, it talks like apartheid, it is apartheid.
Gideon Levy, Jewish Israeli journalist, comparing the situation in Israel-Palestine to the French Empire in North Africa, the French in Algeria. Now, Israel supporters are not going to like to hear that. They are not going to like to hear that. And the difference is, or one of the main differences, the French weren't in Algeria claiming that their ancestors lived there 2,000 years ago, or that the land was promised to them 3,000 years ago. But if that's your religious belief, you shouldn't expect other people to believe that, should you, or accept that? Can that be used as a reason to justify what Gideon Levy has just explained, in his view, is an apartheid? We've got Mo Ishq is saying hi, and hi to you, Mo. Appreciate it. If anyone does want to give it a try, you can send a voice note to the WhatsApp number and I will play it out loud. It's a number I only use for the live stream. Your number's not going to go anywhere. I can assure you of that. Just an experiment, as we like to give people different ways of expressing themselves. And user is saying, get AIPAC out of the United States government. Yes, I believe every member of the US Senate has an AIPAC influencer that tries to persuade them to toe the line, if you can believe that. So let's get another clip up for you. We are in America this time.
I'm a Jewish American, and in Israeli detention, I was really treated like scum.
So this is a Jewish American who visited Israel, Palestine, and was clearly a Palestine supporter, and ended up getting detained and spoken to.
In a way that, like, you read about in books about the Holocaust. Like, I was held in a cage with 57 other women, and someone really, really needed a medic. We were there for hours, and we were saying, medic, medic, medic. And a guard came to us and said, if you keep asking for a medic, we're going to gas you. So I just want you to understand, like, when we say they're like the Nazis, it's not a difficult comparison to make. Like, they are fascists. They believe that
I am assuming she's talking about tear gas in that scenario.
Palestinians are not people, and that it doesn't matter how many of them die. And, like, the way we were dehumanized was way less than the way Palestinians are dehumanized every day. And so I still can't imagine what it is like to be a Palestinian in Israeli detention. And it's like, for us in the sort of privileged Western world, I think we have to try and wrap our minds around it to try and understand like what is necessary to end the occupation and the genocide.
Yeah, I've been on the receiving end of the tear gas canisters of the IDF, and they are quite heavy-handed with it, I must say. And a friend that was travelling with me, I always remember this story, and I've related it on this channel before. A friend travelling with me in 2010 in the occupied territories. We're going through the heavily segregated, occupied city of Hebron, Al-Khalil. Friend from Uzbekistan originally, and a Russian speaker got into a conversation with an Israeli soldier in Russian, and the soldier said to him that we are making the Palestinians breathe gas. Every day we're making them breathe gas. He mentioned the tear gas. And in fact, sadly, I had a friend who lost his life in that city when he was overcome by the pungent tear gas and went into heart failure, and the IDF refused medical treatment to reach him, and he sadly lost his life. So this tear gas is quite a weapon, and this activist is saying that she was threatened with it when she was detained while trying to visit the land. Ahmed is saying, "Free Palestine." Thank you very much. And you've put a heart there. Much respect. We've got another clip from a Jewish individual, Jewish gentleman this time, who came to England at a very young age, originally Iraqi. This is the Iraqi Jewish experience.
Before the emergence of the State of Israel in 1948, there was a large number of Jews living in the Arab world, something like 800,000. And there were Jews in Lebanon, in Syria, in Egypt, and Iraq. The Jewish community in Iraq was the most ancient, going back to 2.5 millennia ago. It was the most prosperous, the most successful, and the best integrated into local society. But before 48, there were Jews throughout the Arab world, and Muslim-Jewish coexistence was not a distant dream. It was the everyday reality. The Jews and Arabs lived side by side until the arrival of Zionism. My family and I, we were Arab Jews. We spoke Arabic at home. We didn't speak any other language. Our culture was Arab culture. Our food was the most delicious, spicy Middle Eastern food. It wasn't European food. So in every sense of the word, we were Arab Jews. We Arab Jews had much more in common, linguistically and culturally, with non-Jews around us. We had much more in common with them than we had with Jews in Eastern Europe. In March 1950, the Iraqi parliament passed a law which said any Jew who wants to leave the country is free to do so. They have a year to register to leave on a one-way visa. And not many Jews registered to leave. And in the next year, 5 bombs exploded in Jewish premises in Baghdad, and that created a panic, and that helped to precipitate the exodus to Israel. Yosef Basri, 28-year-old lawyer and an ardent Zionist, and he was responsible for 3 out of the 5 bombs. The controller of Basri was an Israeli intelligence officer called Max Binet. He gave him the orders, he gave him the TNT. In 1950, there were 135,000 Jews in Iraq. By the end of 1952, there were only about 10,000 Jews left in Iraq, and 125,000 Jews ended up in Israel. We left Iraq as Jews, and we arrived in Israel as Iraqis. But the problem is that Israel claims to be the state of the Jews. Israel claims to speak on behalf of all Jews everywhere. Zionism is an Ashkenazi thing. It's nothing to do.
There is one gentleman's experience of being a Jew from Iraq. Bob Cox is saying no such thing as a Palestinian. Okay, Bob, well, are they human beings? Are these people? I don't get. It doesn't matter what you call them. Okay, if you don't want to use the term Palestinian, are they human beings? The people living on the land, you can call it the Holy Land if you want. Are they human beings? Do they have human rights? Is that what you want to deny when you try to hint that there's no such thing as a Palestinian? We've got Cassie Fishwoman's 12 saying hi. Hi to you. We've got Brock saying Jews in Manchester got attacked because of this propaganda. Well, Jews in Manchester got attacked because of hatred against Jewish people. I don't think the video we just showed, is that going to make people want to hurt Jewish people in Manchester or elsewhere? I don't think so. I definitely disagree with that, but you are welcome to express your opinion. Let's get another clip on the screen.
Sure, you've all heard the expression that a friend does not let a friend drive drunk. Well, the United States has been driving drunk for quite some time, and that dangerous behavior has to some extent been encouraged by Israel and its many supporters in Washington. I also would not doubt that Israel, accustomed to behaving with impunity towards its alleged friend and patron in Washington, might manufacture a pretext to draw the U.S. into a new conflict. If the United States goes to war with Iran in the near future, it will not be because Tehran actually threatens America. It will be because Israel and its powerful lobby in the U.S. have succeeded in creating an essentially false casus belli to mandate such action. While it is often observed that everyone spies on everyone else, particularly true if one is referring to our own NSA, espionage is a high-risk business that most countries are extremely careful when they are spying on friends because of fear of blowback. Israel, which relies on Washington for billions of dollars in aid and also for political cover in international fora like the UN, does not spy discreetly, largely because it knows that few in Washington will seek to hold it to account. Israel, where government and business work hand in hand, has obtained significant advantage by systematically stealing American technology with both military and civilian applications. The U.S. developed technology is then reverse engineered and used by the Israelis to support their own exports. The GAO concluded that Israel conducts, and this is a quote, conducts the most aggressive espionage operation against the United States of any U.S. ally. So the answer to the question, is Israel an ally of the United States, is most definitely no. Is it even a friend? Well, I suppose there are all kinds of friends in the world, but if you...
Is it a case of the tail wagging the dog? This is the great debate in America. Is Israel America's ally, or is America Israel's ally? Who is helping who? Who benefits from the relationship? Let's hear from Douglas Murray. He's a British Israel supporter, ardent Israel supporter.
I think often of the line from Deuteronomy when God says, I've set before you life and death, blessing and cursing, therefore choose life that you and your descendants might live. When I think of the seventh now, I don't only think of the victims, I think of the extraordinary heroes. Life has to be fought for, and it has to be cherished. And what Israel has been up against is not just a people of death, but a cult of death. A cult which wishes to annihilate an entire race, and which, after dealing with that race, has made very clear what it wants to do with Christians, everyone in Britain, everyone in America, and everyone else next. They don't hide it at all, and we're merely stupid in not believing them. In the face of absolute death cults, in the face of people who most people in this country have no idea of, can't imagine what these people are capable of, I want to dedicate my acceptance of this award to the people of Israel who, in the face of death, choose life.
there's Douglas Murray making his perspective quite clear. He talks about a death cult, and he's clearly, well, is it fair to call him? He's very pro-British, but is he putting another country before Britain? Here is an American.
Created ISIS. I mean, ISIS is no less than the people up in Islamberg, no less than Gulen.
This is the death cult that Murray might be alluding to.
CIA creation. John McCain, for heaven's sake, was over there with the ISIS officials. We created them. They came from the Al-Nusra group, the Syrian Liberation Front. These two organizations combined, and they morphed into ISIS. It's our creation. We create them, we still direct them. When ISIS warriors are injured in battle, where are they transported? They're transported, for heaven's sake, to Israel. They're treated by the Israelis in Israeli hospitals and brought back to battle.
So in the Golan Heights, occupied by Israel, there were some fighters patched up and sent back out onto the battlefield in Syria. Netanyahu himself boasted, claiming to take credit for starting the process which led to the ousting of Bashar al-Assad, and you've got Jolani in power now, or Mohammed Shara, I think they call him. And of course, these people came from the Islamist factions. Is he a reformed character now? Is he changed? You'll have to ask him that. But certainly he came from the ranks of those armed groups. And many of them, you could say, are part of a death cult. The clip for you.
From what I can gather, it's kind of a 100-year plan. We're 50 years in.
We're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood now. So Hamas are a group, a splinter group, you could say. They are from the Muslim Brotherhood. That's their origins. They've been around since the 1980s. The Muslim Brotherhood predates them.
Correct.
And how are they doing? What are some of the points they've hit?
Well, think about it. If we take a step back, Qatar is a country. It's a tiny country in the Middle East. It has less than 350,000 citizens.
Oh.
Tiny country.
Yeah.
Qatar is giving more money to British education, to Canadian education, higher education, to American universities than any country in the world. So why would this tiny, wealthy country give so much money to Western democratic universities? And it's to use soft power to influence it. And the Qataris have a bay'ah. In Islam, a bay'ah is a spiritual oath to the Muslim Brotherhood. The royal family of Qatar follows all of the religious edicts, rulings, and fatwas of the Muslim Brotherhood. They basically represent the Brotherhood around the world. And we estimate that the Qataris are using up to $1 trillion in assets to use as soft power to buy favor in universities, in our media, in our political leaders, to further their goals and their agenda. So Qatar is at the forefront of basically representing the interests of the Brotherhood, which is basically to destroy democratic countries. So they're giving all this aid. Naively, many people think they're benevolent and they're doing wonderful work in funding our universities. But essentially, they're changing the discourse in the West. So if we take a step back, Hamas, which is the Palestinian chapter of the Muslim Brotherhood, intent on destroying Israel and Western democratic countries. Hamas, which is anti-Semitic, but let's put that aside for a moment. They're anti-democratic, they're sexist, they want to subjugate women, murder gay people, and do away with religious minority rights around the world. Hamas murdered American citizens and British citizens on October the 7th. They kidnapped them. And amazingly, some of the best universities, the Ivy Leagues in the United States, Oxbridge in the United Kingdom, the University of London, are turning out some of the brightest, best educated young people, young citizens of democracies, and they're supporting Hamas. They're supporting anti-democratic, vulgar terrorists who adhere to a culture of death, who want to destroy democracy, who want to destroy Britain and France and Italy and Germany and Canada and Australia and the United States. And young people are being inculcated in this sort of red-green alliance of the radical left, which has dominated many of our best universities. And because the radical left wants to get rid of Western hegemony, the Islamists who want to destroy Western hegemony have this bizarre common cause. We call it the Red-Green Alliance. So our intellectuals, influenced by Muslim Brotherhood money, are teaching now the second generation of Western citizens to destroy their own country, their own culture. And it's terrible.
All right. Last chance. If anyone wants to get involved, the number is on there. You could send a voice note. You could give him a call. He's talking about a red-green alliance. Is there an alliance between the far left in the Western Hemisphere and the Muslim Brotherhood out of Qatar? And Muslim Brotherhood, remember the Tahrir Square revolution in Egypt? They took power in Egypt briefly. Erdogan in Turkey, he would be of a Muslim Brotherhood ideology. Qatar in the Gulf, also Muslim Brotherhood. How influential really are the Muslim Brotherhood? Apparently, for such a small country, they've got rather a large amount of money, and people make the case that people like Tucker Carlson, people like Candace Owens, who have changed their views recently, maybe there has been some kind of financial incentive in order for them to do so. I've never been offered any money from either side, and I would try to be impartial. We try and keep it freedom of speech on this channel. I hope we've been fair. I hope I've shown you clips from both sides of the coin and given everyone a chance to agree or disagree. All right, this has been Lessons for Life. Thank you for tuning in, and we might do another one tomorrow night if you're lucky. We were here and we're gone. Laters.